why will my content probably be slowing down? Well, it's because the narrative is shifting now. And now the push from everybody is going to be to this idea of let's have, our socialist utopia, right? It's all the fault of late stage capitalism and on and on and on. Like, okay, that's fine. We can make that argument, but what is your idea to replace it with? Well, it's going to be bigger government and a bunch of money printing. It's the same thing you have right now, which is just giant corporate oligarchy and a bunch of money printing. And a bunch of pie-in-the-sky dreams of having robots and AI. Robots means cheap slave labor from other countries. AI means slightly more expensive labor from other countries. That's all that means, dude. And it's just going to be, unless you're getting rid of central banking, and you're not, that's not going to be what people are going to be screaming for. That's not what all of the people under the age of about 40 right now, they're not going to be screaming for end central banking. Let's go back to having small businesses and an honest economy. They're not going to be screaming for that. They're going to be screaming for, we want free shit. Because other countries have free shit. No, other countries don't have free shit. Americans pay for those countries to have free shit. That's how that works. Americans pay a bunch of money in taxes and inflation so that those countries can have all that so-called free shit. It ain't free. It just means that Americans are being duped, and their currency's fucking worthless. Their currency's being printed to worthlessness to pay for all that crap. The argument is made on the backside of this that, well, but America went in there and did this and that to those countries. No, the U.S. government did that, not Americans. Okay, not Americans. I have no respect for military people that obey those orders anyway. It's impossible to have respect for. It's actually impossible for me to have respect for military in general at this point. Same thing with all the fucking pigs out there. It's impossible because you guys can't question orders. Questioning orders, I would have respect for you. If you're just blindly obeying orders, then I cannot have respect for you because you have a standing order within the bodied within the Constitution and the Bill of Rights. Those are the supreme orders that you're not supposed to be violating, but you violate them all the fucking time. And you do it for fake fucking money, printed out of nothing. And anybody out there who thinks that, well, no, under this new system of socialism, man, we're going to, no, you're going to have the same problem. In fact, you'll have to hire the exact same psychopaths to enforce all your bullshit. You will. There's nothing redeeming about any of these ideologies if they have central banking. Nothing. If you were saying, let's get rid of central banking and let's have an honest economy, then that would be one thing. Because an honest economy is an honest money. That's what that means. In other words, money that isn't printed from nothing. We can get rid of money, man. You might as well say you're trying to get rid of electricity. You might as well say that you're trying to get rid of energy itself. That's not how that works, because there's too many people who have too many different visions for what their future should be like. There's just too many different versions of that. That's why it doesn't work with 8 billion people. You might be able to get something like that to work with, a couple hundred folks, in some commune somewhere, but you're not going to get that to work with 8 billion people because there's also too many different cultures out there. Right? There's too many different cultures out there. A lot of you see a lot of these Asian cultures or East Asian cultures, and you're like, wow, they have all this stuff. Like, yeah, they also have a lot of culture that backs all that up. Cultures create borders for a reason. That's the part that a bunch of people, they just gloss over everything, when I talk about this stuff. That's why it's impossible to teach this stuff. I'm just coming to that realization that I think that it's impossible to teach this stuff unless somebody wants to actually learn it and understand what it is that you're seeing. But in order for someone to learn and understand what it is that I'm explaining, you've got to be able to zoom out, and you can't clan. Most of you have clanned. Okay, what do I mean by that? It means that you're sold out. You're sold out to your friends and your relatives and so forth and what have you. Like you're clanned up, and so in order to stay a part of their system, you have to believe a certain way. When you don't clan, you're able to see things objectively for the result they produce, right? The result, not the belief, the result. So yeah, you can believe whatever the hell you want, but you have to look at the results of what you're getting. And you're going to achieve the same results by everybody pushing the narrative of let's do some kind of socialist paradise or something like that with the CBDCs or a stable coin or whatever, kind of like it's just going to be more money printing, and you're going to keep voting for the same people. Stop me where you think I'm wrong. I mean, how many people out there will vote for someone who comes from a wealthy family and says all the right things? They tell you literally everything you want to hear. You get what you deserve. If somebody's telling you everything you want to hear, you get what you fucking deserve. Because that's not how accuracy and truth works. A lot of times truth is something that you want to hear. Sometimes truth is stuff that you don't really want to hear, but you need to hear it. Boomers. I mean, think of how many boomers out there that just cannot accept any truth other than what they were propagandized into believing, with the invention of television. So we have now, you have, young people, you can just keep scrolling, through infinity channels, right? There's what, a billion channels to choose from. Yeah, boomers had like 4 channels, and it was the same narrative on all 4 channels. It didn't make any difference where you went to, you got basically the same narrative. It might be spun a little differently, but you got, and so they're not going to believe anything other than that. You can't, not anymore. And most of them don't know how to do percentages. They don't understand math. They don't understand how compound inflation works. They don't understand that shit. All right. I mean, just no different than the amount of people. Again, the statistics bear out. Any video that I produce, the average watch time is something like 8 seconds now. For real. It's that fast. And like, well, you need a better hook. No, it isn't about better hook. This is if you want to learn something. When the student is ready, the teacher appears, and not before. Right? What do we have in public education? What do we have in schools right now? The teacher is ready, the student must obey. And that's what has happened to hundreds of millions of people. Their minds have been basically destroyed. I don't know that there's any helping you. If your mind has been that destroyed, I don't know that there's any helping you at this point. Until you're willing to say, hold on, maybe I've been taught something completely wrong here. Maybe we need to be objective. Maybe we need to zoom way the hell out and not Klan anymore. I don't think, the number of people that would do something like maybe 0.1% that would be willing to do something like that. And you don't need me for that. That's the thing. You don't need me to teach you any of this stuff. You don't need me to tell you any of these things. You can just, if you zoom out enough and then you start looking at the results people are achieving, you'll start to piece it together on your own. It's all over our art and fiction. It's all over movies. It's all over, if you know what to look for, it's everywhere. It's ubiquitous. In fact, once you start to tune yourself into it, you'll see it absolutely everywhere. It's inescapable. It's inescapable. Somebody said, why is it that people develop substance abuse problems? It isn't to expand your mind. It's to escape this for a while, because it becomes inescapable when you know what the hell you're looking at.